Hello and welcome back to another edition of Viper Bites Waiver Wire Week 15 Playoff Edition. Right now, you know you are in or you are out. You know if you are playing for that championship or that toilet bowl championship. Either way, we want to work that waiver wire. We want to help you win whatever you can. And you know what? Just because your season is over doesn't mean your dynasty season is over, because we are just gearing up for dynasty. And there's still some gems out there in the waiver wire that can help you next year, and we're here to help you find those ones as well. As always, you know what? You got questions, I have answers. Hit me up on Twitter at MattDonnellyFF. Send me those starts and sits, those trade questions, whatever you got. Let me help you with that. But let's dive right in here to the waiver wire, and let's talk about the quarterback position. Let's talk about someone you should already have on your roster, Taysom Hill. Yeah, I said it. He should be rostered. He shouldn't be on the waiver wire. But if he is, you need to go out and get him. Listen, he had another 60 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. He had 100 yards rushing the week previous. It doesn't matter if he can throw the ball or not. That Konami code, cheat code, is legit. And you know what? He is a strong fantasy play the rest of the season. Tampa, Miami, Carolina. These are all some fantasy matchups that he could take advantage of. Make sure to get him in your lineup. He is a great number 2 quarterback with number 1 upside each and every week here for your fantasy playoffs. Another quarterback you need to grab, more of a handcuff than anything, is Lamar Jackson's handcuff, Tyler Huntley. If you have Jackson, get Huntley right now. Now, Jackson, he was spotted in a walking boot. Good news, it sounds like it's a lower ankle sprain, which happens to be the good of the ankle sprains, if you want to put it that way. Harbaugh basically said it is not a high ankle sprain, but I'm still a little bit concerned about Jackson moving forward. So let me go out there and let me handcuff him with a guy who threw for 270 yards. He also had 6 rushes for 45 yards. He scored, and you know what? He's had success in Jackson's absence before this already this season. So make sure to get yourself Tyler Huntley. Another quarterback, you're looking for streaming options. Maybe you're not sold on who you got under center for this first round of the playoffs. Well, it feels wrong to say this because I bash him each and every week, but Ben Roethlisberger is a great streaming option coming off a 300-yard performance on Thursday night. Yes, that's last Thursday night. That means he's had about 10 days to rest up. And when you get to like Ben Roethlisberger's age and my age and a lot of people's ages, the more rest you get between games, the better you are. And it also doesn't hurt that you get to play the Tennessee Titans, who are amongst the 5 worst teams at fantasy points surrendered per game this season to the quarterback position. So I think you can feel comfortable with Ben Roethlisberger this week. At the running back position, we know DeAndre Swift. He's got that COVID. He's got that IR status, whatever that might be. Jamal Williams, if he's on the waiver wire, he is number 1 priority without a question. I'm not even going to consider Craig Reynolds right now. Yes, he had a big week. I'm not chasing those points. Tevin Coleman, he may be attractive, but Michael Carter, he's coming back as well. And Jordan Howard, you know what? Why not if you want to throw a dart? But you know what? You want to make some big plays, maybe some dynasty plays here. Rashaad Penny. Yes, I know we're going back to the penny, but a penny for your thoughts? Rashod has plenty of them. 138 yards last week, 2 scores. Yeah, it was against the Texans, but the week before, 62 yards on 11 touches. It appears Penny has finally river danced his way ahead of Alex Collins on that depth chart there in Seattle. And you know what? It's going to be a rotation there. Alex Collins, DJ Dallas, they're still going to have rotational value, but a healthy Penny will see early work on those passing downs, on those early downs. So give me Rashaad Penny here moving forward for my fantasy playoffs. Another running back I'm looking at strongly this week, and it's because of more of a precautionary thing here, because we talked about that short week, Sunday to Thursday night football. Well, Austin Eckler, he's got a ankle sprain that could keep him out. We know that short turnaround is not good. We've seen what's happened to players in the past. So go out there and get Justin Jackson. We know that Eckler, he's going to be in real jeopardy to play this week. So I'm feeling comfortable with Justin Jackson. Okay, if you want to go out there and get Kelly, by all means, go ahead. I'm sure they're going to split carries going forward here this week. But you know what? The value for me is in the PPR, and that's where the advantage is to Justin Jackson. I could see Roundtree getting some goal line touches, Kelly getting some goal line touches, but Justin Jackson is the most explosive of the 3 backs. So give me him. Now, another running back, I can't believe we're talking about him, especially during the fantasy playoffs, is Royce Freeman. Now, I feel like I need to mention him. It's not a recommendation, but with David Johnson, kind of on that COVID protocol right now. Rex Burkhead, he kind of missed time last week because of injury there. He had to leave a little bit early. That left Royce Freeman is basically the last man standing in Houston. And you know what? He did produce 66 yards on 17 touches. I do expect both backs to be there ahead of Freeman, but you know what? Go out there and get him just to be safe. And you know what? Worst case scenario, you snatched him away from somebody else. Now, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to say it again. If he has been dropped in redraft, now is the time to go out and get Derrick Henry. There's no way he should be on any waivers, but if for whatever reason someone dropped it and makes some room, you need to grab him. You got roster space, you grab him. You don't have roster space, you find that roster space to get him. With that foot injury, he is at that 6-week mark right now. He's already passed that. We're on to week 7 right now. The original timetable was 6 to 10 weeks, probably closer to the 8-week mark in which Henry is going to return. This is a convenient time to go out there and get a number 1 running back for that playoff push just in time for those fantasy semifinals. Now, the wide receiver position, here are some notable players. Check the waiver: Alan Lazard, KJ Osborne, Robbie Anderson. These guys we've talked about before. Another guy, Julio Jones. He's possibly been forgotten because he's spent a lot of time on the IR. He spent a lot of time on the injury report. He spent a lot of time not playing on your fantasy squads. Well, you know what? Last week, he didn't really play. He was in the game, but was he really there? 33 yards, 6 targets. Listen, A.J. Brown is going to miss at least one more week. Julio Jones is already there. If he's on the waivers, you need to go out there and grab him because he's going to get some play this week. And I feel confident that Julio Jones is going to buy you one more week until A.J. Brown's back in that lineup. Another wide receiver to look at, Joshua Palmer, Los Angeles Chargers. We've been waiting to see what that other option looks like in the passing game. Who's going to step up for the Chargers moving forward? Well, with Keenan Allen last week, both Palmer and Jalen Guyton, they stepped up and earned themselves a more of a predominant role moving forward. Jalen Guyton is more of that deep play threat, that boom or bust each and every week. It turned out that Joshua Palmer is more of that handcuff to the Keenan Allen. And I think if Keenan Allen is going to miss time, and we've seen what happened with Amari Cooper in his situation. Again, short turnaround. We talked about that. He missed Sunday because of COVID protocols. He may not be ready in time for Thursday night football game against the Chiefs. So Joshua Palmer looks like he is going to fit that role. Listen, 5 receptions, 7 targets, 66 yards, and a touchdown last week. I feel good about Palmer. Something to keep an eye on, especially with that Keenan Allen and that COVID situation. Rashod Bateman. Yes, no Jackson, no problem. Bateman set career highs in catches with 7 and yards with 103, and he played 64% of the snaps. Yes, he's still a risky option, but you know what? You have to add him. Why not? He is one of the best rookies in this class. I feel confident about him moving forward. Another rookie I like, get ready because there's 3 of them coming. 2 more after this one, 1 more after this one. Nico Collins, Houston Texans. Let's dive deep on this one. Collins saw 10 targets, hauling in half of those last week for 69 yards. Last week looked promising enough. And this week's matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars, I feel good at when he plays that secondary. So you know what? Nico Collins, you got another good week here. I want to get you on my dynasty rosters. And you know what? I feel confident that maybe you could be a sneaky flex play this week. Another flex play, Detroit Lions wide receiver, Amon-Ra St.Brown. Okay, when you get 12 targets in any game, I don't care who you are, what team you play for, you're going to catch my attention. And I'm not going to take that lightly. St. Brown is rostered in about 29% of leagues right now, okay? He is coming off an 8-catch, 73-yard performance, and with Swift out and Hawkinson doubtful, some of those targets have to go somewhere. Why not St. Brown picking up a few more this week? Now, heading over to that tight end position, I keep telling you, Evan Ingram is never the answer. Ever. So stop doing it. Stop falling for that trap. Now, who I'm feeling a little bit better than when it comes to tight ends, especially over Evan Ingram, is basically everybody, but Austin Hooper. He is a favorite of this show. It seems like 1 week he's on, 1 week he's off. 1 week he's on, 1 week he's off. Well, with the injuries in the Browns tight end room right now, Njoku and Harrison Bryant kind of missing time, and basically my overall disdain for the tight end position so far this season and that wasteland of what fantasy considers productivity at that position, you could do worse than Austin Hooper. Hooper becomes a very attractive option considering everything that's going on. Now, over the last 3 games, 13 catches, 108 yards, 2 scores. If you need an injury replacement, hanging with Mr. Cooper, Mr. Hooper. I fell for that. That kind of dated my age there. Hooper is a solid option. Now, another option to consider, Ricky SealsJones, Washington football team. Yeah, he may have hurt you last week. Taylor Heineke there had 11 passes, give or take. I'm not too sure what the number is. All in all, with Logan Thomas on IR, there is tight end 1 type production there. There's a possibility of it. Their volume is there. Ricky SealsJones, I don't know if he's going to get it this week, but I feel that he is someone who could pick up the slack in Logan Thomas's absence. One more. Okay, you got me. Gerald Everett of the Seattle Seahawks. Volume is key for me. 29 targets over the last 5 weeks is enough volume for me to consider him a solid streaming option, especially after a touchdown last week against the Houston Texans. Now, those are my week 15 waiver wire targets. You got the playoffs. You need to make those right decisions. You know what? There's a good chance you are starting your studs. Don't get cute this week. You got fantasy glory on your mind here. Now is not the time to put down your beliefs and everything that's got you to this point and try and get cute. So you know what? Let's go out there. Let's win some championships and head over. You want the last bit of advice? Head over to fantasypoints.com. Enter promo code 21Vipers10 or 22Vipers10 because we're moving on. We're moving on to the new year. 22Vipers10 and get 10% off that subscription right now to Fantasy Points. That again is 22Vipers10, and we will see you next time.